I recently played Creature Lab on Steam. It's a preview version demo game where you take the role of a mad scientist who must create magnificent elixirs to make menacing monsters. You send them out on missions to collect supplies and create panic in a nearby city or state, thereby allowing you to make more monsters. I was intrigued by this game. It had, and I mean this in the best way, a good level of jank. And I enjoyed it. Ultimately, I enjoyed it. Essentially, the game works that you have your laboratory where you exist. You've got a series of different cocktails and test subjects, which are cadavers. You inject these cadavers with certain solutions you create in your Alembic? Oh boy. Right below the vessel, and you choose a cocktail, investigate it, look at its qualities, and then fuse it with another one. Sometimes these elixirs aren't compatible, and this is one of my first issues with the game. The way that these different elixirs and cocktails that you're combining together are discovered and understood is by putting them under the microscope. It's a tiny little mini game where you need to focus in on the amoeboids and such to get an accurate read on what it is and its composition and properties. That's fine, and I actually enjoy that. It's easy enough to do, but satisfying. The problem is the composition gives you names, and that's fine. The properties give you a series of symbols and names. The symbols down the bottom, which you are told through this tutorial, which the demo predominantly is, they're represented by various different little colored shapes. Opposites clash, and they cancel each other out, and what comes as a result of that is a sludge. A sludge is a unusable elixir, essentially. It won't do anything. But if you get a working elixir, which is two mixtures mixed together, you then mix that mixture with another mixture, which is something else that is two separate elements combined, put them together into a single vial, and then you pour that into your vat, which has your test subject, aka cadaver, in it, and then it imbues it. The way to tell whether something will combine or not is very confusing. The symbols, they're there, but it's not as simple as you'd hope. I understand the complexity would make it more fun in a certain way, but ultimately on playing it, it was really hard to keep track. And another thing was I actually just enjoyed smashing stuff together. I mean, trial and error is the heart of any scientist, even if you are a malicious mutant maker. So I just found myself kind of combining random ones and seeing what would happen, and that was actually a more fun, satisfying way to actually go about that, as opposed to going, here are the 12 molecular symbols, I'm going to remember them all. Elephant in the room, and maybe this is in the cons section again, a very small part of its charm, but I do get erotica vibes from this. Yeah, I have to say, when I first started playing this game, I was expecting a certain level of that. Japanese schoolgirl corpse. Okay. I don't say that often, but, here I am. I just want to make a movie. So there is this sort of underlining horniness undertone going through the game. But that being said, there's still a lot of charm. And there is a level of depth to the gameplay that feels more so than any of those other just full-blown porno hornbag games. I reckon I'd probably give this game a go once it's finished, because I don't know, it's sort of, I would say it's fun, charming schlock, and it knows it, and if you know it, then I think you're both going to have an okay time. I think you're going to have a good time. My last critique. Sound design. It's okay sometimes. Obviously, this is just someone... This feels like a one-person developer or more, not a huge budget. So credit to them for what they've been able to do. And, the visual atmosphere and that kind of thing. Music is pretty solid. Sound design, though. I think it's more the choice. Some of the sounds are the same. That's fine. Whatever. Some are appropriate. Main critique. The computer. Throughout the game, I was hearing this ear-piercing, shrill, tone. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And I assumed maybe it was background something or a machine. It was a machine in the end. It was a secret computer that you use for your missions in the table. And it creates the most obnoxious tone I've heard. See how long the game actually goes in terms of longevity of gameplay, but there's more here than you would expect, or at least I did. So I'm interested to see more. Now, if you excuse me, I need to go and put the crows that are fighting outside in some sort of sack or a cage. But yeah, thanks for listening, and hope you enjoyed.